She wasn't supposed to be a problem. She was supposed to clean up the acquisition paperwork, draft NDAs, ensure I stayed squeaky, clean on paper while I bulldozed the competition. But Leila Vance didn't clean up quietly. She walked into my office like she already knew where. Everything was right down to the space in my life I didn't admit existed. "You redline in blue?" she asked, holding up the due diligence printout like it offended her. "It helps me think," I said. She sat across from me, not blinking. "It makes you look like you're improvising with someone else's rules." I leaned back. "You're bold for someone 3 hours into the job. And you're lazy for a man whose name sits beside a $50 billion merger." I liked her instantly, which meant I had to keep her at arm's length. That lasted 6 weeks. The first time it was late. Too many coffees. Too much talking. Too much I'd said something stupid. Some offhanded jab about lawyers being cynical optimists. She rolled her eyes and said, "You're only sharp when you're not being watched." What's that supposed to mean? That you care what people think more than you admit. I don't. She tilted her head. "Then let me kiss you." I didn't move, but I didn't stop her either. Her apartment became neutral ground. Never my penthouse. Never the office. We were smart until we weren't. "You can't keep looking at me like that in meetings," she whispered during one Thursday strategy roundtable. I handed her a notepad under the table. Scribbled, "Too bad you look good when you're smarter than everyone else." She shook her head. But she smiled. "You're out of your mind," she muttered. "And you're the complication I'd redo every time." Her leg brushed mine the rest of the meeting. Nobody noticed, except Marcus. 3 months in, I started building calendars around her. She pretended not to notice. I knew better. Leila was never anyone's secret. Not really. She let me think I had control, but I could feel her, under my skin, behind every win, cracking my obsession with control by just being calm when I wasn't. The bigger the merger got, the more I needed her voice in the room, her reminders, her restraint. "We can't miss the telecom licensing details," she warned one night. 2 a.m. "We'll kill the deal before it closes. I'll handle it. You say that a lot when you're scared." "And how do you know I'm scared?" "Because it's the only time you don't talk over me." The silence that followed didn't feel like defeat. It felt like comfort. One morning, she brought me a latte and said without looking up, "Someone saw us." I froze mid-keyboard stroke. "State who or what?" "I don't know. But Marcus asked if I was finally making your coffee because your ego broke a fingernail." I stared at her. "That's vague. That's Marcus. You think he knows?" Leila met my eyes. "I think he's watching." I didn't react. I told myself it would pass, that we'd stay smart, careful. That rumors don't kill deals, proof does, but for the first time since I became the youngest tech CEO in the city, I felt my walls pulse. Wasn't scared of losing the merger. Was scared of what I'd do to protect what we had, and what I'd destroy if I didn't. "You're trending." Those 2 words from Marcus burned more than my coffee spill from 10 minutes earlier. I didn't even look up. "For what?" He slid the tablet across my desk. I finally looked. A photo. Blurry, but damning. Me, standing a little too close to Leila at the Westline Gala last weekend. Her hand, softly on my arm. My gaze, too focused. The caption, "Crosses counsel more than legal. Tabloid trash." But the timing couldn't have been worse. "The feed's on fire," Marcus said. "WSJ's writing a headline now." "They won't name her yet." I stared at the screen. "Who took this? No clue." "Doesn't matter. The optics suck. How bad?" Marcus sighed. "We're 2 weeks from merger close. Their side already had concerns about internal ethics. I've never been investigated. They won't wait for an investigation. They'll wait for a narrative. And this is the one you gave them." I leaned back, silent. My mind already calculating. "What's Leila's response?" I asked. Marcus blinked. "You gonna involve her?" "She's already involved." He folded his arms. "Or are you gonna protect her by cutting ties now?" I glared at him. "Watch your tone." "I don't say that as a friend. Ethan, I say that as your chief brand officer." A knock at the door. I didn't even respond before the board's chairman. Glenn Strauss and 3 other vultures walked in. "Emergency sit-down," Glenn said. "Now!" The boardroom was full. Everyone looked unsettled, not panicking. Not loud, just waiting for me to flinch. Leila's picture was already on the screen behind Glenn and mine. Of course. He clicked a remote, pulling up extrapolated Reddit threads, time-stamped videos of us exiting cars within minutes of each other. Rumor compilations. The age of digital forensics loves a scandal. Glenn's voice was colder than the air conditioning. "We don't care about your sex life, Ethan. Glad to hear it. But we do care when it costs this company a $100 billion merger." I crossed my arms. "There's no proof." "Public perception is stronger than proof," said Elise Wang from legal. "Leila's not just anyone. She's director level, reporting directly to you and involved in all merger communications. A romantic link creates a breach of independence, real or not. She's the best strategist this company ever had." "That isn't relevant," Glenn snapped. "She's a flashpoint now." I hated how calm his tone stayed. "Westel already delayed signing due to our media noise," Elise added. "Their GC called me directly. We need internal personal boundaries documented." "You want me to backdate forms?" I asked. "No," Glenn said. "We want distance." The room went silent. "How much distance?" I asked. "No denial. No cover-up. Just separation. Immediate removal of her public connection to you, professional or personal." "You're asking me to fire her?" "You don't have to say it that way," Elise said, "but it's what you mean." Marcus, sitting near the back, wouldn't meet my eyes. This time last month, we all toasted wine over closing numbers. Now I didn't even recognize this board. Glenn folded his hands. "It's her or the merger, Ethan. You know what investors expect." "What if I say no?" "Then you lose the deal. The board revisits leadership confidence, and you will lose backing." I stared at the screen again. The tabloid photo still lingered, fuzzy, tasteless, but powerful, and at the center of it, Leila. Elegant, sharp, mine. God. After the meeting, I went back to my office and closed the blinds. The silence rang louder than ever. I texted her, "Meet me upstairs. Executive Lounge, 7 p.m. 10 minutes later. Leila, is this a breakup or a strategy meeting?" "Both." Her reply came instantly. "Fine. I'll bring a pen and my pride." She was already in the lounge when I walked in. Same glass walls, same skyline, same couch, same woman I couldn't stop needing, only this time. She didn't get up and she wasn't smiling. "This where you make me disappear?" she asked. "No," I hesitated. "It's where I tell the truth." Leila raised her brow unmoved. "Go on then." I closed the distance between us and sat across from her. They know. Everyone. Reddit, blogs, investors, someone leaked a photo. "I saw," she said, not flinching. "Nice angle. Caught my good side. I didn't think it would spread so fast." "You didn't think it would spread at all," she corrected. "That's what happens when you live in glass towers and lock people in small boxes." I looked at her hands. No rings, no shaking. Just still, powerful hands resting calmly on her notebook. "They want me to release you," I said. "Like a statement?" "No, a choice." She shut her notebook softly. "Let me guess. I walk away, you keep your name, your merger, your throne." I didn't answer. "You were quiet before," she said. "But now? You're freezing." "I wasn't ready for this," I admitted. "No one ever is." I leaned forward. "If I fight for this, I lose everything." "If you don't," she said, meeting my eyes, "then I lose everything." She was right. This wasn't about a job. This was about self-respect, hers and mine. But I still said nothing. "Wow," she whispered. "You really are going to let them win. It's not them." It is them, Ethan. You kept saying, Leila, be patient. Leila, we'll go public at the right time. Leila, I'll fix it." She stood up. "Turns out, the only thing you knew how to fix was your image." I rose with her. "I'm trying to keep the company together." "And I tried to keep you together," she snapped. "For months. While you played surgeon with press quotes and hid behind swipe cards and security detail, I felt like a building collapsing quietly in its core. I didn't want to hurt you, I said. You just didn't want anyone knowing you wanted me. Those words punched harder than I expected. I reached for her arm. Instinctively, she stepped back. You don't get to touch me now. Silence, then softer. If I walk now, Ethan. I'm not coming back, I nodded. She blinked once, as if hoping I'd surrender. I didn't. She turned, and just like that, she walked to the elevator, shoulders high. Head calm, steps perfect. No tears, no begging, just gone. Back at my desk, the legal draft was waiting, terminating her position under mutual agreement. 3 sentences, that was it. I stared at it but couldn't bring myself to hit approve. Marcus knocked once. Leaned in. You make the call? Yes. She gone? Yes. He watched me for a moment. You okay? I handed him the tablet. Send it through. And just like that, she was offline. Revoked login, remote access disabled, AI signature stripped from documents, clean, cold corporate, but nothing about it felt right. Because in protecting my name, I tore hers down, and she still left beautiful. 3 days. That's how long the silence held. 3 entire days without a leak. A headline or a panic call. I thought maybe I outran it. I thought maybe I still had everything under control until Glenn called. I assume you saw the announcement, he said. No, they're backing out. I stopped cold. What? Westel's pulling out of the merger. I stared at my screen like it had betrayed me. They cited cultural incompatibility, but we both know what this is. It's retaliation, I said. They want leverage. They want stability. And they don't believe you have it. Not anymore, I swallowed. We already cleared compliance. Legal was airtight. Elise wrote an incredible contract, Glenn said quietly. But we all know the truth. Leila was the heartbeat of this operation. I didn't respond. I hope whatever you protected was worth the cost. He hung up. 30 seconds later, Marcus stormed in. Tell me this is bluff. It's not. How the hell? We gave them Leila. You gave them... I stood fast. If you're going to say we after what I sacrificed, get out. Marcus ran a hand through his hair. Dropping her cleared nothing. You look worse now, like a man who couldn't fix his own mess and sold out loyalty to save face. I didn't sell her. Out. You didn't protect her either. The press didn't. Explode. But the stock did. 6%. By noon. Another 2.5% by closing. Investors started calling with cold voices and veiled threats. What happens now? Is there a backup target? Who's leading strategy now? Strategy right, Leila was strategy at 6 p.m. I walked into the 6th floor war room, where we used to whiteboard every pivot with 20 team leads. Now it sat empty. The whiteboards only had ghostwriting across them. Half sentences. Smeared updates someone had scrawled, "Don't delete Leila's notes." I turned slowly. In the back corner, her old rolling chair, the one she always brought everywhere as a joke. I don't sit in fixed places, she told me once. I need to roll through the chaos. Now it just sat there. Still, unmoved. Next meeting. Legal. 9 a.m. tomorrow. No one had rewired her systems yet. I couldn't even find the cross-reference folder for pre-merger asset stripping, and no one else knew where it lived, because no one ever asked her. They just handed her things, and she handed results back, like oxygen, until we cut her off. Back in my office, the city lights were muted by rain. The merger was gone. The headlines, fading. The noise, replaced by a vacuum. And all I could do was sit in the same high-backed chair. In the same empire I traded her for. Still pretending I made the right call. Still lying to myself. But everything I touched felt cold now. Because I hadn't just pushed her away. I lost anyway. It started small. Nobody knew who had final clearance on the pending vendor agreements. Leila did. The systems audit stalled mid-phase. She was coordinating that too. Quietly, efficiently, without asking for credit. Now? Delays, confusion, red rerouting alerts, even Marcy from HR came in flustered. Who's handling ethics review responses? Leila always... Oh, she trailed off. People kept doing that, saying her name, then stopping. Like it was a swear word. By the third week, I got an anonymous employee feedback report. Hit my desk like a mirror I didn't want. No clear leadership tone. Since Leila left, it's been chaos. Morale is, one just said, dry. Dry, efficient, robotic. Profitable still, but soulless. I passed the investor wing and caught a conversation I wasn't meant to hear. If we'd kept her, we'd have that deal. Most of us know it. He protected his image and lost half the firm's direction. Voices faded as someone noticed me. I didn't correct them because they weren't wrong. Marcus walked in that night, arms full of folders he didn't even look at. I can't remember where we stored version 2 of the SmartNet licenses. She kept them on Drive V. Labeled under Cross-Compliance Drafts Lev 2, he blinked. How do you know that? She made me memorize them before every board review. Said one day I'd finally listen. He sat across from me quietly. You seem different. I stared at the skyline. She used to sit right there, red penning contracts, sipping tea, pushing back when I got tunnel vision. Now the seat stayed empty, always. We opened a new strategy session for post-merger salvage plays, 5 outside firms. Pitched in 2 days. None impressed me. None leaned forward. Took control, or said you're wrong to me like she did one tried to flatter me. Ended the meeting early. I don't miss the way she challenged me. I miss what she saved me. From my own arrogance, my blind angles, my need to win even. If it meant losing everything that mattered. Behind the curtain, the mood around HQ changed. Nobody said Sadie's name anymore out loud, but everyone felt her absence in the way we stayed later. Worked harder, like we were trying to feel normal again. Like the hallway echoes were louder. HR offered a short list of interim replacements for her role. I rejected all of them not because they weren't qualified, but because they'd ask me how to be her, and the honest answer was, you can't. She didn't just do the job. She held the room together without being seen. It's weird. The scandal passed. The press stopped calling. The board stopped demanding blood. They won, I guess. And now that there's no war to fight, no one knows who's running things, including me. I tried to move on. That lasted 12 days. 12 days of new assistants who smiled too much and said, of course, too, often. 12 days pretending signing papers gave me peace. It didn't. It gave me silence, the kind that echoed in empty boardrooms and after-dark elevator rides, the kind that sounded like her heels no longer walking down the hall. I called her once. This number is no longer in service. Of course it wasn't. She burned the bridge with precision. No smoke. No flames. Just gone. I asked Marcus where she went. He shrugged. Vanished. Changed her number. Deleted socials. New email, maybe a new coast, he leaned back. Smartest exit I've seen in years. Any chance she's consulting? She's not consulting, he said. She's building. I sat up. Building what? He raised an eyebrow. Whatever the hell she wants. I Googled her. Nothing recent, but someone had posted a photo of a panel event. Leila Vance, speaker. Women in law and leadership, no video. Just the caption. Powerful. Unapologetic. A storm in heels. I stared at that caption for a long time. I called the event organizers. Fake name. Fake story. Wanted to feature her in an article. Standard PR trick. The receptionist smiled through the line. Oh, sorry, Ms. Vance doesn't do media anymore. Of course she didn't. Protect the peace. Protect the rise. I walked into my apartment that night and stood in the
kitchen, same skyline, same
silence. Same whiskey, 12 years she used to water. Down with ice. I poured 2 glasses out of habit. Halfway through, I set hers in the empty seat across from me. What the hell was I even doing? Drinking with a memory. One I burned. My phone buzzed. Marcus again. You see the startup funding memo? No. Layla's name is on it. I froze. Which side? The top? Ethan. I brought the screen to my face. It was an article from a private venture blog, Ardent Legal Collective, founded by ex-Grayson strategist Leila Vance, closes series. A funding at $42 million. I had to sit down. She didn't disappear. She multiplied. She took the very blueprint I discarded and built her own empire. Quietly. Successfully. Without screaming, scandals or a press war. She didn't fight me, she left me. And the difference wasn't just power, it was purpose. I sent her an email. Didn't know if it would ever reach her. Subject, Layla, I heard about the funding. I'm not surprised. I just wish the stage beside you was mine. I didn't expect a reply. I just needed her to know that even if I'd stopped her story once, she rewrote the damn ending anyway. The ballroom was colder than I expected. Too much glass, too much steel, too little heart. I'd spoken at hundreds of these events, panels, pitch forums, keynotes. Always the headline. Tonight, I was just a face in the crowd. Why? Because she was on stage. Please welcome Leila Vance, founder of Ardent Legal Collective. The applause hit like thunder. She stepped into the spotlight in a navy silk pantsuit that didn't ask for attention. It commanded it, hair sleek, eyes sharp. Not the woman who used to sit in my boardroom. The woman who owned hers now. She didn't even hesitate. No notes, no pause, just, we don't talk enough about why women leave systems. It's not always fear, harassment, or fatigue. Sometimes they just stop making sense. The crowd nodded, leaning in. My lungs stopped working because her voice, so calm, was cutting. Not at me. But God, it may as well have been. She spoke for 20 minutes. Every word sounded like something I could have said. Should have said, but she'd lived it. Survived it. And translated it into a movement. Ardent wasn't just a firm, it was a signal. Don't wait for seats at tables you built. When she closed with a simple nod, the room stood, everyone but me. I didn't move. Couldn't. I was afraid if I blinked, she'd disappear again. At the networking hour, I hovered near the exit, didn't approach right away, watched her shake hands. Hug strangers, laugh, she looked light. I used to think love meant holding someone tightly enough to protect them. Turns out, sometimes love means not being the villain in their after. And then she saw me. Her eyes didn't widen. No panic, no flinch, just awareness. A flicker of something deep, then composure. She walked over slowly, glass of champagne in hand. Firm, centered steps, stopped 3 feet from me. Ethan. My mouth went dry. Leila. She looked at the room before glancing back at me. Didn't expect to see you blending in. I didn't expect to see you glowing, I replied. She smirked. You always were dramatic, I shrugged. Old habits, her eyes, neutral now, searched mine. You came to scout me? I came to remember you. That sobered her. Long pause. Then, you look good. You look whole. Her smile didn't quite reach her eyes, but it was real. You didn't reach out when the merger fell apart. I didn't know how to apologize. And now? Now, I don't need to be forgiven. Just understood, she tilted her head. That's growth. I learned it from you. Another pause. Not awkward. Just full. Like neither of us knew if we were closing a door or leaving it, just slightly open. She finally glanced at her table across the room. I'm speaking at a VC summit next month in Austin. You always did like a crowd. I like a cause? I used to think you were my cause, I said quietly. She looked at me for a long beat. You were my lesson. Then she offered her hand. Strong, unshaken. I shook it. And just like that, she was surrounded by other people again, and I was just someone from her past, watching from the edge. I caught her alone near the back service door after the gala. She was holding her heels in one hand, phone in the other. No cameras, no glass walls, just pavement. And honesty, leaving already? I asked. She didn't look surprised to see me. These events exhaust me faster now. You killed it up. There. I know. She leaned against the wall and exhaled. I read your email, she said after a pause. You weren't supposed to reply. That's why I almost did. We both smiled, broken, tired, not at war anymore. I was miserable after you left. I told her. She looked straight ahead. So was I nodded. But you got out clean. You built something better. I didn't do it to win. I know. You think I was angry at you for the merger collapsing? She asked. No. Good. I wasn't. Then what were you angry about? She turned to me, finally meeting my eyes. That I made you braver than you really were. Her words hit quietly, but deep. And I... Let you believe it, I said. Yep. She dropped her heels onto the ground, crossed her arms. You didn't save your reputation, Ethan. Not really. And you didn't destroy mine, I said. Funny how that worked out. We went quiet. You were never temporary, I said honestly, but I treated you like you were. She blinked. No response, no forgiveness, just space between us. I chose safety over integrity, I added. That wasn't leadership. That was survival, Ethan. She hesitated. I never hated you. I just stopped waiting for you. I stopped waiting for me too. Slow breath. Then she asked, so what now? Nothing, I said. She looked surprised. I don't want anything from you, I added. I just needed to tell the truth out loud. To the person I never gave it to. Her shoulders relaxed slightly. Then thank you, she said, for not asking me to come back to something I outgrew. I laughed softly. I knew you'd be the one to say that first. We always knew I'd leave smarter. You left stronger too. She put her hand on the door. Good night, Ethan. Goodbye, Leila. The merger was officially declared dead on paper, but I'd known that since the day she left. Still, we had rebuilt, stabilized. New investments flowed in. Our core teams adapted, no scandals, no leaks, no heroics, everything was functioning, and still, something felt off, like a piano song missing its low notes. Every Monday, we held meetings in the 24th floor conference room. The view was the same. One Leila used to hate, this glass makes the whole room feel invisible, she once told me. She'd pull the blinds in the middle of meetings, no matter who was at the table. Now every Monday morning, no one touches them. I sat at the head of the boardroom table, 12 chairs around me, legal sat to the left, strategy to the right. But the seat one spot down, just right of center, still empty. No one ever asked if they could sit there. No one joked. No one slid their laptop over. It just stayed untouched, like everyone knew whose space that had been. Leila never needed that chair to stand out, but she made it matter just by being in it. Now, that silence became part of the room. We launched an internal mentorship program last quarter. It was something she'd suggested 2 years ago. Back then, I barely listened. Now it's part of our core culture pillar. I named it Anchor. Nobody asked why. I didn't explain. Just said, it was inspired by someone who held more than she carried. My assistant stopped by after the meeting. Do you want me to remove that extra chair, sir? No, I said. It's always empty. It stays. She nodded gently. Understood. That night I sat alone in my office, lights off, watched the city lights flicker like static. I opened my laptop. Clicked an old folder named JV Telecom Diligence Files. Inside, her final memo. The file was dated 2 weeks before she left. Its title, Long-Term Culture Risk, Intangible Liabilities. Below it, a quote. They're not going to remember what you built, Ethan. They're going to remember who stood with you while you built it. I closed the file, let the words hang in the darkness. Funny how the legacy looks solid from the outside, and yet, inside there's always that one seat. The one seat still empty. A headline popped up on my phone while I was brushing my teeth. Ardent Legal Collective acquires Nexus Gen Tech in record-breaking deal. $500 million. All-female negotiation team. 72 hours of media spin. Cover of Fortune Women. There she was, Leila Vance. Smiling, arms crossed. Eyes calm, unbothered, unbroken, unmatched. I sat down on the edge of my bed, toothbrush still in hand, staring at a woman I once knew better than I knew myself. And now? Now she was in a different orbit, no asterisks. No past footnotes linking her back to me, just Leila, Marcus called that afternoon. You see her feature? Hard to miss. She's everywhere. And I mean everywhere. Press is calling for quotes. You want me to? No, I said quickly. We don't add anything to her story. I meant it. Let her have this without the shadow of my name behind it. Let her rise clean. She earned that. That night, I sat in the Anchor Mentorship Dome and watched a young intern give a presentation on ethical contract frameworks. It sounded oddly familiar. I scanned the closing slide. There at the bottom, originally taught by Leila Vance, 2023, the kid had never met her, but she quoted her like gospel. Something in my chest swelled. She still lived here, not in body, but in blueprint, not in presence, but in principle. When I got back to my office, there was a white envelope waiting for me. No return label, just my name, neat, elegant handwriting I knew before opening it. Leila, inside, a page. Handwritten. Ethan, I heard about Anchor. Your team's doing good work. I didn't write to reopen anything. Just wanted to say thank you for choosing to grow instead of defend. You're probably still sipping overpriced whiskey at 2 a.m., but I hope now you're doing it as a better man. You didn't lose everything. You gave yourself back what mattered. Leila folded the letter and placed it beside her old memo. Didn't cry, didn't smile, just breathed. For once, that was enough. I walked to the boardroom. Same room. Same chair arrangement. I didn't touch the empty seat. I just ran my hand along the back of it before walking to the window. We were closing a different deal next week. I'd give the opening speech. Same headlines. Same grind, but not the same man, because power wasn't my currency anymore. Presence was, and hers, it never really left. She walked away carrying her name. Her freedom, her fire, and me. I built a legacy shaped by the hollow space she left behind, not as a warning, but as a reminder that the best parts of me walked out with her.